not only my mindset of pregnancy, dealing with hormones, dealing with things that logically come with being pregnant, come with change, but also there was a level of depression that hit me in waves that I didn't want to acknowledge. That there was a lot of inner child work that, progressively you still always have to work on, but I was suppressing it. I was suppressing it because there was so much work to be done with baby preparation, with being a wife, with being a teacher, with just the responsibilities of being an adult, that, like most of us, we prioritize that. And I was procrastinating in the sense of faith and their self-worth. I felt like 2 summers ago, and I know there was other videos of me focusing on grace, unlearning passive aggressive behaviors. There was a level of learning that it hit me all at once, but I stopped. With learning, it's progressive. You never should feel comfortable to stop learning, not only about yourself, but acknowledging the mind, acknowledging aspects of consciousness, of coping skills, because with different time periods, I was 2 years ago, I was 27, 28. So I'm not the same person. I'm not the same being that I was. And the coping skills that worked back then may not work back then. The revelations I had, back now, the revelations I had back then, although it was helpful in that time period that I was in, doesn't mean that it was helpful now. And I was becoming more sad. I wasn't acknowledging a lot of emotions that I needed to. I didn't practice my mindfulness. I didn't practice my meditation. I wasn't being consistent and acknowledging not just present faith, not faith that's about to become a mom, not faith that's forever changing into this new being of a woman, into motherhood, but also little faith. How is she feeling? What are some coping skills that are going to help her, that's going to help me acknowledge her? And I want to encourage somebody that realistically, you should never stop acknowledging aspects of little faith or little you, whether that's 10-year-old you, 12-year-old you, 14, 18, all of those versions of you were milestones in who the person you are today. So that's why growth is progressive. You can't just say, well, I achieved this, I had this revelation, I gained this level of consciousness, and I went to therapy once or twice, or I joined these groups, support groups for 2-3 months. Okay, it's good to adapt and to change. Maybe this works now, doesn't work then. Like, that's the whole part of the journey. But we can't just stay stagnant. And I'll bring it back to me. Being stagnant for me is just unacceptable. It makes me comfortable. And even though, who really likes being uncomfortable? But being comfortable is actually what aids the depression, if that makes sense. Because there's something innately in me that is pushing me to go outside my box. I had to acknowledge fear in doing that, though. It's human. And going outside your box, there's going to be doubts, there's going to be fears, there's going to be uncertainties of, well, if I do this, this is going to happen. If I do X, Y, and Z, this is going to happen. What if this happens? Anxieties. But in acknowledging the fears, there's also a feeling of knowing that I can do better for all aspects of who I am. That's one. So technically there's 3. Hopefully y'all follow me. But then another aspect is also acknowledging that I'm doing the best that I can at this current moment. And although I want to push myself to learn, to grow, to adapt, but also to nurture and provide grace on myself, that I'm doing the best that I can right now. There's a lot of variables outside of my control. And that's something that therapy has helped me, slowly is starting to help me. I can't say I'm there yet. Slowly starting to help me build the resiliency of being present and acknowledging it's okay, while also acknowledging, hey, here are some steps to better, take away those depressive thoughts, to take away the anxiety. Unlearning perfectionism. That's something my whole life I had an issue with, whether it was because of other people's standards, whether it was my own fears and setbacks. of, well, I have to be better in order to please. I thought really just people, and that's a big part of it, but also just to feel worthy of myself. Um, Oftentimes I look at, well, people pleasing. Yeah, but the deeper root is, why do you feel like, how does faith feel about that? Yeah, you feel like you got to do this because that's what everybody says you're supposed to do, but what are your actual thoughts? Does Faith feel like she can't do this? And is Faith trying to challenge herself to the point where she's exhausted or whatever the case may be? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of variables in it. And hopefully I'm making sense. If not, it's going to make sense to somebody. So it's all good. Moving forward, I want to talk about loneliness in this changing season as well.